And good afternoon, scholars of room 502. Today we're taking a look at the writing prompt that Mr. Liggett had about how third and first person point of views, our narrations, are similar, not different. So we're going to be looking especially at a relative adverbs, when, where, and why, to help us in our writing. We're also going to be looking at how we do punctuation, such as quotations and commas and whatnot. So let's start reading. Perhaps the biggest similarity in first and third person points of view is that both can capture a reader's imagination. For example, in Here, Boy, notice we put Here, Boy, the excerpt from Because of Winn-Dixie in quotations. For example, in Here, Boy, and I also have the comma that's part of the title, and also a comma here to show in Here, Boy that there's two different clauses. When Opal first sees the dog, she vividly describes the big clumsy creature who rushed around the corner. So here's one of our relative adverbs. Oh yes, Princess Yvonne, the relative adverb. Which one is the relative adverb? Right here, when. Oh yes. And this is writing directly from the source story. Notice I'm not making things up. I'm coming directly from the story. When Opal first sees the dog, she vividly describes the big clumsy creature who rushed around the corner. She draws the reader in when she says, and here we have a comma and a quotation because we're quoting directly from the text. He smiled not writes, he smiled right at me. So we could see that we put the period inside the quotation mark there. And this is a punctuation style here that's taking a direct quote, but we don't use, we're using a capital there. When in the text, I believe it was a lowercase h. So that's why we put the brackets around it. At that moment, I felt like I was in the grocery store with her. Remember, that was a pretty vivid description about her seeing the dog. And then that's bringing up my imagination. Similarly, waiting for Stormy, once again a comma and quotes to show that this is the story, takes the reader on a journey into Maureen's imagination, especially when it states her mind suddenly went racing around the world backward in time. Well, I made some little errors here. So her mind suddenly went racing around the world backward in time. And notice how we put that in quotes. There's a comma right there. And also we have another relative adverb. Where's the relative adverb, Princess Yvonne? Oh, it's right here somewhere. I heard you say it. Oh, right here. Especially when. Yes. And notice how we take that directly from the story. We're writing to the text, from the text, writing from sources. In this way, the third person narration creates a journey where readers, oh, I see another relative adverb. Yeah, I do too. Where readers, along with Maureen, can escape beyond the walls of the room where they sit. And notice how I conclude this paragraph. I go back to the beginning here that says that they both capture a reader's imagination, and then at the end I restate this. In this way, the third person narration creates a journey where readers, along with Maureen, can escape beyond the walls of the room where they sit. Yes, Maureen had that terrible thought about all those horses in the shipwreck. Yes, that was a terrible daymare she was having, not a nightmare. Yes. All right, well, Princess Yvonne, it's time for us to move on to social studies, and I think we'll be doing a social studies lesson, so be sure to check your social studies section, your social studies class, and maybe just check your science section too. Yes, just in case. All right, we will talk to you later. Look for a spelling test tomorrow, so study those spelling words from a few days ago.